This next one I imagine will take a little bit more finesse to drain because of where it's located. This is the axle. So again, your standard 11/16 bolt, and loosen it up, and this one is mysteriously loose. So I'm very thankful about that. What we're going to have to do though is somehow get this funnel underneath, so we don't have a big mess on our hands. So again, it's going to be one of those two-handed operations, so I'm not even sure how this is going to play out. So we'll go ahead and try to find a place to put the camera so you can see what I do. What my plan is to do is take this funnel and then put it underneath it. I'm using the two-hand method, and hopefully it'll drain into the pan below. Alright, it came out, so I'm going to open up the filler, help the flow out, and yes, that did the trick there. Okay, referring back to the manual, it indicates that there are 3 drain plugs for the axle. I only count 2. One on the front left, and the other on the front right. I am not seeing a third drain plug for the front axle. Now I do recall when I was talking with the manager at the dealership, he said that don't overfill, if I get this thing in focus here, don't overfill the plug or the hole, because you'll have problems with it. The manual calls for 3 liters, which is just short of a gallon, to fill the axle. When I drained out the left side, I know it wasn't even half a liter. So I am going to move gingerly here and try to figure this one out, but I advise caution on this one until we can get clarity. But I'm going to trust the dipstick and see if it gives me an accurate reading. That's the only thing I have to go from. Okay, a brief clarification. I reached back to the service manual manager, which is a good thing to have in your phone book. When they say 3 ports on the tractor, they're referring to the fill port, the drain port, and the other drain port. So with this tractor, you're only going to find 1 fill port on the entire axle. The other side of the axle has a pressure valve. So what you're going to do is you're going to drain both plugs, or remove both plugs, and it's important to note that when you do that and the filler cap is off, it's going to come rushing out. So if you have 2 buckets or 2 ways of managing the flow so you're not making a huge mess, that's great. If not, it's great to have a third hand to help meter the fluid flow. So with both of them drained on level ground, go ahead and proceed to add in your fluid. Again, the manual says 3 liters, which is just shy of a gallon, and I have 4 1-liter bottles of oil here. But also the key thing is to, don't overfill it, because it will blow seals. So we'll let you know how that comes out. But again, you want to do this on level ground. So the idea is when you fill it up, it'll come across to the other axle and start filling that one up as well. On the front axle, all I'm going to say is So again, the spec calls for 3 liters, which is just shy of a gallon. We used 1 9/10 of this lube oil here, and the dipstick was reading way over full for what was in here. So the only thing I can think of is, I know this side here I'm putting fluid in. The left side I know I'm putting fluid in. The right side I can't take the cap off to put fluid in there. So the best I could do was to drain the right side and then check the fluid level on the left side to see if I have a sufficient level of fluid. So with the clean dipstick, putting it in the port, screwing down and coming back up, it appears to be just shy below the point there. So I don't know if it's a leveling issue or what, but you definitely want to proceed gingerly on this one because of the possibility of blowing out seals. But I'm not getting it. I've never got an accurate reading on this side with my dipstick, and I've been told many different things. It's better to have less than more because again, you could possibly blow out the seal. But also too, I'm having problems believing that if a spec calls for a certain amount of fluid and you drain it and when you put what's required in there, it doesn't equal. I have some concerns with the manual, and also to doing maintenance on here and being liable for any type of damage for failure to properly follow their guidance. But again, as we saw with the engine oil port where it called out for 2 drain plugs, there's only 1, and then their idea of drain plug when referring to draining the axle, they said 3 drains, and the fill being considered as one of them. I think I have a little wiggle room there, so I'm gonna fiddle fart around with the balance and hopefully figure out where we're at with the level. And we are on level ground. I did check that with a mineral spirit level, so we are definitely on level ground, front to back and left to right. So if the idea is that fluid's supposed to move from the left axle fill port across the axle and come over here down to the right gear axle using a V method, then we're following that, because again, on the right side you cannot take off that port. It appears to be, well, you should not take off that port, and I'm not going to do that because the manual doesn't call for it, so we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, and the last step was removing the plugs for the transmission hydrostat. There's 2 plugs, one underneath by the front PTO, and then on the back side to the right of the control arms, right back there. And then there's another one that's on this side over here, so a total of 4 on this thing. And you definitely want to get a large container to catch a fluid. Understand that the filter, when I take that off, that's also going to create a lot of slosh there. So I'm just going to pause it here. Okay, got the hydrostat off on the other side and replaced. Now I just took off the filter for the transmission, and I was told about a deluge of fluid. I didn't get that when I took off the transmission fluid or filter. Perhaps it's because I opened all 3 drain ports up, but I think that is okay with me. So now we're going to install the new filter on this side and then refill the transmission. That will conclude the oil change maintenance part of oil change part of the maintenance. Oh, Okay, the last part of this exciting adventure is putting in the transmission fluid. Again, the Texaco that was listed in the manual I could not find, but 303 is what was recommended by the dealer and the manufacturer. To transfer it, I'm going to try using this pump here. I bought it at Harbor Freight. It's worth the $5. I use it to transfer fuel, and I think it'll work great to fill up the transmission filler on top here. Has a nice long hose. I'm going to run some transmission fluid first, and then use it to fill up my transmission. This way, if there's any diesel in there, it won't interfere with it, but I think we'll be okay. So good, nice little run of transmission fluid, so I think we're okay. I'm going to start using it to transfer fuel into the, or transmission fluid into the case. It says 3.5 gallons, which is a good chunk. It's going to be kind of hard to meter that flow, but we'll do our best, and we'll let you know how it comes out. Well, that's pretty much it. It completed the 50-hour service. As you can see, it's getting dark out. PTO is spinning. Oh, it's in there someplace. There it is. PTO is spinning. And the front end loader is operational.